So 300 writing, 500 onboard and contracted, ready to write. Because we're adding about 100 a month. You know how much I've spent on paid ads to get there?
How much?
Zero.
Yep.
Like, that's how much scalable the business is.
I look back and wish I would have left and came over, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Okay, there is something out there that would pay me what I'm worth or what I can make of myself. And knowing that you've done it and you're doing it, it's like, yeah, bro, sign me up. Let's join the ride.
Keep going, keep going.
I gotta keep going.
Kicking it off from Austin, Texas with the boys today. Thank you for joining us for another podcast. We've got Bill with us. We got Ryan Bucher. How we feeling, boys?
We living, bro.
Yeah.
Doing good.
So big week for us here in Texas. We're at a lock-in all week with Ryan's crew. Met up for the leadership today, Friday, the event, and then tomorrow we got a grand opening. So we hit like 3 ducks in 1 week, which is pretty crazy. What was your all's takeaway from today's event? I know you flew in from ATL, Bill.
Right. Biggest takeaway is I'm not the only one doing this in the business, and being around the other people that are on the same level as me or trying to aspire to the next level, we all feed off of each other. So I was just talking to AC. I picked off of his game, and I gave him some of my game too. We're only going to grow, and we're going to watch each other grow too.
And what about you, Ryan? I know you were with multiple different companies before joining us here. What was your takeaway? Have you ever been around something like that through your insurance experience?
Yeah, I mean, that many top performers in a room, not necessarily. I mean, I was at a company that was more captive and smaller, but they hype it up to make it seem like it's really big. So you have people that are in their first 6 months, 9 months, a year doing, 500,000 in a month, whereas that's something that like people strive to one day get to that point at those other companies. So it's just cool to be around people that fresh into the business.
Yeah.
Reminds me to move with speed.
And they actually did the first one like 2 years ago. And I remember I got snubbed from it. I was telling the story like I was at like 60K. I had just started like I think it was Al and like one guy with me.
Yeah.
And I had just started. They're like, oh, the minimum to be counted as a team is like 100K a month. Mahmoud's like, I'll get you in. I was like, no, like I'll earn my way in. But like I remember, like I potentially made like a freaking hit list after that with the names on the leaderboards. And I was like, I'm coming after them one by one.
Yep.
But like being around that type of energy, man, like that's what it was for me. Like early on when I started this business, I went to Sean Mike's house, like my first full-time month. And to me, that visit to his house changed the trajectory of my brain.
Yep.
We did that disc test, and I started to get to know myself so I could lead others. What did you learn from yourself about that disc test?
So mine was a little weird. So I thought coming into it, I was going to be the D on it, like a hardcore D. I did end up with like a slightly D as the heaviest.
Yeah.
But I realized I'm also a little bit of everything. So that's kind of what's helped me with building my team is I'm able to relate to a lot of different personalities, right? But that also made me sit down and think, who do I have on my team? How do I inspire them? How do they inspire me, right? So being able to break that down, we got an exercise coming in Atlanta. We're all about to do that test.
Yeah, it's huge. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was looking at it. I didn't really know which one I was going to end up with because I feel like I kind of blend a lot together. Like, just depends who I'm around. But looking at and doing the actual test, I think I was a C, which is like more analytical, kind of looking at the systems, understanding like how to go from point A to point B, which makes sense because I feel like I'm a pretty goal-orientated person. I like to see where I'm coming in at and how I'm going to get to where I want to be. So it definitely made sense. But I think it's a good tool to utilize for like yourself and just your people too, like understand where you can get better and how you need to kind of talk to and understand the people within your business.
Yeah, because I always say that, like, in business, you're going to deal with so many different types of personalities. That's just it. Some people I love being around. Some people I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get off the call, you know? But like when you take that disc test, it helps you know who you're dealing with, but most importantly, it lets you know why you do things the way that you do, because it literally goes into the neuros of your brain from how you operate, and you're like, okay, now all of this makes sense. So like I've taken that test so many times just because of going to these types of meetings. Like Sean always makes us. If you go to a Sean event, it's always the first thing he makes you do.
He does. Yeah.
So it's like now when I'm on the phone, like when I was on the phone with you, I was like, he's a C. When I was on the recruiting call with you and you kept asking questions about systems, data, stuff like this, in my head I said he's a C. Like that's how I identify people now. It's like it's a letter. Like in my head that'll go off. I'm like, he's a C.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's so important to know who you're dealing with. Now I know both of you came from different backgrounds. You came from corporate America. Ryan was in the insurance industry before, just looking for the right home. What was it about you that stuck out to sales to just walk away from that 6-figure plus salary that you had, potentially without really seeing results?
I needed to, one, understand kind of the game. And so I've always heard of, okay, get into sales. You can make uncapped commissions. Everyone advertises that, right? But what is the barrier to entry, like coming in here? Okay, here you have to get licensed. I could do that. I have full control over that. I actually had a conversation with Joey regarding, okay, what does my first 90 days look like? What does my first year look like? He told me from A to Z kind of what the expectation is for all new agents and how I could get to that certain point to where I could justify leaving a 6-figure plus salary. So in full transparency, 150K, coming out of college, working in my degree, finance. It's the American dream that they sell you.
Right?
Yeah, that's what they call it, the American dream. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
To be honest, right? I wanted to buy a house. Can't afford a goddamn house right now, right? With that salary, couldn't afford it.
$150,000.
I could not afford it. You could not justify any way, shape, or form to afford that. I was like, okay, so the trajectory that I'm on, I'm going to be working for at minimum another 15 to 20 years just to make some sort of income that I can comfortably say, okay, I did something, right? Coming in here, full transparency, I see everything, and I'm like, okay, so it would take me a fraction of the time, a lot more effort, but a fraction of the time. I'm willing to sacrifice my effort to get the results that I kind of wanted. And in this business, you get paid what you're worth, right? And so being able to find that vehicle was the biggest decision maker. I was like, yeah, past 8 years, I was doing corporate finance. I threw it all away. Didn't burn bridges, but I threw it all away. I was like, yeah.
Fast forward, like just these 6 months, you've probably doubled your income.
Oh, wholeheartedly. Tripled, quadrupled.
Which is crazy, man. Like, how long did it take you to work up to that?
3 months.
But in corporate America, how long did it take you to work up to that 150?
7-8 years.
So what took you 7-8 years, you tripled it in 6 months.
Yep.
It just tells you the beauty of sales, bro. There's nothing better out there.
No, wholeheartedly. I tell everyone. Right now, I have a leg up when I talk to all these corporate people because I lived their life.
You've seen it before.
Yeah, I know exactly what they're going through. So when I get on a call with them, I could close them on this.
Yeah.
It closes itself, but, I could present it to a way they're like, yeah, you're absolutely right. So that's kind of the benefit that we have here.
And now fast forward, like you have a crew up and running. You're number 3 on our leaderboard, top 10 in the company. It's like you're putting in the work.
Yep.
But it's not a corporate America grind. That's what people don't see. Like, this is a grind. Like, they see the numbers. They see you've tripled your income now in 6 months. What does that grind look like behind it, though, opposed to a corporate America job?
So, in full transparency, this is a grind. You're going to work a lot, but it's not work when you love the shit. Right?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with this business.
Addicted, yeah.
Obsessed with it, right? My wife knows the script. That's how
a
much.
good wife.
Yeah, you know what I mean? She knows the script, just how much times I've recited it. She knows exactly how I get paid, what these carriers are. She once told me is America or Corbridge's check coming in this Wednesday. She knows the pay cycle.
She's waiting for those checks.
You know what I mean?
That's dangerous, bro.
I'm yeah. She doesn't know about the bonuses.
Okay.
But that's so yeah, okay, I'm working different hours. Okay, over there I was half-assing 40.
Yeah.
Right? Here I'm working more hours, but it's not work. I love this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like work. When you're
Around the boys.
I'm here with the guys. This is technically work. I could
Yeah.
write it off on my taxes, but Lord knows I'm having fun, right? And I'm learning too. So learning and earning. That's the
it's the beauty of sales, man. And like, you guys want to hear something funny?
What happened?
So Colby was on here with me yesterday, and he's like, "Man, my wife loves this business." I'm like, and he always used to ask me questions early on in the business, like, "How do I do this so I balance my time at home and the business, all this?" And now him and his wife go out to dinner on every Friday, but there's a contingency. If he doesn't hit 10K by Friday, he's not allowed to take her out to dinner. Bro, that's her rule.
That's
not
amazing.
his.
That's fire.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Now, he talked about being in corporate America and being in the wrong vehicle. What about being in the right industry and being in the wrong vehicle? Because you started early on in the industry. You got into life insurance sales, what, at 18, 19?
Yeah, 19 years old.
Yeah. So how about that? Being in the right industry but in the wrong vehicle?
Yeah. It's definitely a game changer. You come into the wrong vehicle, so to speak. Like when I first started, I remember it was a lot of like very similar things of where, you got to work hard, you got to put the grind in, you got to do this, you got to do that. I was putting the grind in, I remember my first 4 months, like I slept at the office,
Yeah.
It's not much more dedicated than that. Like I was the first one there and last one to leave every single day. And so doing that, like I made 6 figures my first year there. I made 6 figures my second year there, but there was no scalability. So you were kind of always just like a sales, it was almost like you had sacrificed. Yeah, you were stuck. Exactly. So I was just working long hours just to make this kind of money, where it's just like you want to be in a vehicle like how you have it built here, where you can come in and put those hours in and put that grind in and actually reap the rewards, not put yourself in a position where you're putting the work in and putting the grind in, but because of the vehicle that you're in, you're limited. Yeah. Exactly. You're stuck. It's kind of like being corporate, like you're stuck because, the way they have it set up, the golden handcuffs.
Yeah, It's not meant for you to get to the next level.
Not at all.
Exactly.
And that's what like fires me up about this. And me and you were talking about this on the car ride on the way to the office. Like the guys because you just joined with our team recently, came from the captive space. Like the guys that you've met over the week and the weekend is like a taste of the future, what it holds for you. You've met Colby that's been here for 6 months. You've met Drew Smith that's been here for 7. You met Dante Tanner that have been here for 9. You've met Bill that's been here for 6. So like, that's what motivated me so much in business. Is like when I look in front of me, I see Zach Twardowski. I see the success he's had. I've seen the impact he's done, the money he's making, and it makes me, and I feel like really strong to wake up every day knowing what lies ahead if I continue putting in the work.
Yep.
How huge has that been for you guys? Coming in early and seeing those guys with those results while you guys were still new.
So, off of that, Ronnie, me and you knew each other before this.
Yeah.
Right? So, that being the case, I knew Ronnie before the insurance game.
Yeah.
And seeing Ronnie who he is now, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real result, right? So, I know full transparency, you're going to tell me it exactly how it is.
Yeah.
That empowers me every day. I could tell you 100%. Everyone can post on social media whatever they want.
Yeah.
But that connection that we had to where like, okay,
The raw connection.
I know you on a real basis and you're actually doing this. That's the biggest factor. That's what it takes, right? And that's how I was able to really get this on my radar, right? And say, okay, there is something out there that would pay me what I'm worth or what I can make of myself. And knowing that you've done it and you're doing it, it's like, yeah, bro, sign me up. Let's join the ride. Yep.
And what about you, Ryan, just from your position being like really new? What was it like seeing all those guys this week that are making some of them over 7 figures, some of them damn near 7 figures so quick.
Yeah, it was awesome because that's what I got. That's why I got into insurance.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dream that I was sold. So to actually see it happening is awesome. I guess when I first started, maybe I thought that, like, you know, there's people making 20, 30,000 a month, and I believed them. They said they were gonna make like 100 grand a month within the next couple months. It never happened. So actually seeing it is a game changer. And then seeing people that have been in the industry less time than I have, people that used to be under me at previous companies, and seeing their success too, you know, it's part of the reason I came here, because I knew, like, I saw the results. I knew it was working.
Yeah. And how was that in the captive space? Because we talked, that was one of your biggest concerns previously, is like you'd build and then have to rebuild because it's just a cycle of people coming in and then them leaving real quick. And it's like before you could build anything special, it's always collapsing and you're always having to rebuild. So, like, how is it now being in a vehicle that it has sustainability and that everybody can do well and not just you? You're not the only one getting paid.
Yeah, it's awesome. I say this to people that I still talk to at captive companies, and I'm like, hey, you're a great person. You're a great leader. You can do really well in this business. People leaving you is not your fault, you know? Like, you can bring all the people in the world, and you can do such a great job of motivating and, you know, guiding them as a leader by doing the right things, you know, going to church or not going out, not partying, right? Like having a very stable life, but you can't put more money in their pocket by doing that. And it doesn't matter how good of a person you are if you're not going to help the people you're bringing to the business make money. And it's not your fault that you can't do that, simply that you can't provide a fair opportunity. And when you look at America and capitalism as a whole, it means like every person can come in and, for example, I can look at, oh, Ronnie's doing this. Let me copy what Ronnie's doing. Let me invest what Ronnie's investing. And in theory, like, I could come in and do the same thing as you.
Yeah.
And so over there at a company like that, where it's limited, where you come in and a brand new producer gets a quarter of the leads, or less than a quarter, a tenth of the leads of the top producer, and they're a different type of lead, and they're like, oh, now go produce as much as him, and then we'll give you those leads. It's not a fair opportunity.
It's not even possible.
Yeah.
So, like, in the captive space, I've always heard, like, you obviously went through it, is they control your lead flow, and basically it's whatever you produce is dictated by whoever's above you calling the shots, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How was that, having to put up numbers or scaling a team? Like, how did they even think it's possible to get to the next level doing that?
Honestly, I don't think there's really any system that they can think of and say that legitimately works. I think the motto is just bring as many people into the business that you possibly can, and hopefully by doing that, you receive enough leads to actually sustain a business, because you have no control. So they base the lead flow off of how much you're producing and how many new people you're introducing into the business, which, as you know, Ronnie, that your lead flow is your cash flow. So if you have no control over your lead flow, there's not any amount of money that they can invest into leads. So the only way to be able to grow for them is, oh, let's recruit all these people. They recruit all these people that, you know, sell them this dream. It doesn't work out. That's why you see guys come in there, work for a month, 2 months, not get any results, and then come over to a vehicle like what you've built, and they start putting up 30, 40, 50,000 a month because they have an equal playing field.
You want to hear something crazy?
So,
You know Merritt and Brian Hayes? They used to be in his hierarchy at the old company.
oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy how,
Yeah,
like, the world is small?
Yeah.
What was that like seeing that those guys didn't do well there and then them coming over here and seeing results? Like, did that, like, kind of put off a light bulb in the head, or what was what were your thoughts behind that?
Yeah, so I think internally, because my previous company, or AIL, it was my, like, first sales job. So it was all I knew. And so I was so blindly loyal to just being there and just, like, these people that had helped me begin my sales career, which is, like, looking back, I was just naive. You know, I didn't know any better. They were making money. Of course they want me to stay, right? But seeing guys like Merritt and Brian leave and do really well, I was really happy for them. But there was a time, like, before they had left where I was just depressed at where I was, because I was like, I put the last year and a half, 2 years into this company. I really don't have anything to show for it. And everything they told me that I would be able to achieve if I did all these steps, I've done all these steps, and, like, they're holding me back. I'm not getting paid what I should be. I'm still putting in the same hours that I was. And so seeing those guys leave and the success that they started having, and then just seeing like the state of the company, understanding the business, like looking around at how it actually operates, it makes no sense. I look back and wish I would have left and came over, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's huge, man. Like, Tanner and Dante were with AIL before they started with us.
Yep.
Dude, they failed there. They're both
Just
going to make
crazy
7
to
figures
think.
a year this year.
That's crazy to think.
Isn't it crazy how, like, the vehicle dictates your growth?
Yeah.
And, like, when I look at our company, it's like it's a Ferrari of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many people on your team are making multiple 5 figures a month?
At least 7.
And you just started not even a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just tells you, like, a lot of people, they're missing the right vehicle. How has that impact been on you, knowing that you can provide something like that to others?
Yeah, that's the craziest shit about this business. I'm not going to lie to you. It's, okay, yeah, the money's good.
Mm-hmm.
The freedom, the flexibility, the comfort that this opportunity buys for you. But being able to teach people how to make that level of income. Bro, my first 3 directs was Ish, my brother, Mejdi, my brother-in-law, and Tamir, my brother-in-law, right? The most, like, high-risk kind of downline you could have, because if you fuck up, if you're in the wrong vehicle, if this is, like, BS by all sets and purposes, it's going to mess up my personal life, bro, right? And so bringing them in and telling them, like, Ish, okay, he worked for a company as a data guy. But Mejdi and Tam, my brother-in-laws, they work for their dad.
Yeah.
So I literally stole them from their dad's business. So that could have been catastrophic, right? But instead, it was the greatest thing I've ever done, right? And now their dad looks at me and respects me even to a new level, because it's like, hey, you've upgraded my children's life, right? And so being able to, I'm not even going to take credit, but being able to provide that opportunity for killers to show their killers and make that kind of money is insane to me. And then we have the rest of the guys that came on. They're making money that they saw us talk about. We're like, now they're making that money, and it's physically in their bank account. They're going crazy. They're telling everyone they know. Now I have one guy that's recruited his sister, his brother-in-law. They're following the same steps that I did, right? And it's literally because see monkey, do monkey, whatever the saying is. But, right, you're making money. You're showing people how to make money. And now it just snowballs so quick.
Once they get that first check, they just run with it. And then it's like, once they see it's possible, it's like, how much more can I do?
Exactly. That's honestly how I got into it. Right? So my first couple days, I still had my full-time job in corporate finance. And I just wanted to see kind of what the process is to get paid. First day, first close. Oh.
Now it's possible.
Oh, okay. Waited a couple days, got it in my bank account. Oh. I just need to do this 30 times.
Off a 1 30-minute call, that's how much.
I just need to do this 30 times. 30 times whatever I got, 1,000. That's 30,000. Could quadruple my monthly income. Yeah, sign me the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's kind of what the process was, but it's really, really, really empowering to, like, show people how to make this money. Yeah.
And just like you said, like, the business kind of, like, sells itself. You guys want to hear something crazy? You know how much I've spent on paid ads?
How much?
Actually, guess how many people are active on the team right now first?
Active?
I want to say 300.
So 300 writing, 500 onboard and contracted, ready to write, because we're adding about 100 a month. You know how much I've spent on paid ads to get there?
How much?
0.
Yep.
Like, that's how much scalable the business is, and you don't need to. Like, now I'm going to, because now to get to the next level from 500 to 5,000, I've got to put more skin in the game. But, like, not a lot of people can say that there's 500 agents within their agency like us, you know? But it just tells you how duplicatable, how scalable, how many people are doing well and how quick. Like, that's what matters most, is getting people results quick. Like, we're really intentional about getting agents paid fast. Like, and we're always on, like, that Zoom call we took with those AIL guys, like, a week ago. Like, dude, they're working 12 hours a day to make 2 or 3K a month. Doing the same thing as us.
Yeah.
We have people making freaking 30, 40K selling at a high level, working that many hours, you know?
Yep.
Given not everybody does, but those top producers that put in that type of hours, that's the return.
Right.
And it's just crazy to see. So there's a bunch of stories within our team. What has been your favorite story so far?
My favorite story is to hear, honestly, it's your story with your first 3 downlines.
Tell it.
So your first 3 downlines, 2 of them were your
Brother-in-laws.
brother-in-laws.
Yep.
One was
Joey.
Yeah. Right. Literally in the basement working, seeing that story of kind of how you were. This was, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, seeing where you guys were and where you guys are presently, current day, seeing that journey, knowing kind of how you guys came up from literally in the basement grinding, right? Laundry room, right?
Yeah.
It's insane to me. I know what they went through. I see where they're at now. Lord knows what I am going through with my team at the early stages. Like you told this story last time when we were in Philly, when me and the 3 guys walked into
Reminded
the
me
office.
of us. Yeah.
That's it, right? That's the confirmation bias, or the confirmation that I needed.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. It reminded the guy that just did this. It's still fresh. The memory's still fresh. He just did this. It reminded him. We're on that same journey. That's my favorite story, personally. Yeah.
It's amazing to see. I remember when you guys walked into the grand opening, you, your brother, and 2 of your boys. I was like, that was us 2 years ago.
Yep.
And just, that's how quick you can do it here. It's just like, it's nothing else.
Yep.
Now, I know, Ryan, you've been with us just recently. What's one of been your favorite things, whether about a story on the team or something you've seen or just something about the team in general?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I've seen is just that, I mean, people that I know doing it, you know, it's not like people that I just come in and have seen these people. I feel like that's kind of the same thing for you. It's like you saw Ronnie 2 years ago and you've kind of seen how he's built this. Like I saw, you know, Merritt and Brian and even Tanner to an extent, you know, 8, 9 months ago, 7 months ago, when Brian was, you know, at his apartment in Illinois coming off of a corporate sales job, making $2-3 grand a month, $3 grand a month, you know, and now making 40, 50 a month just from his own pen, you know, not even with the team.
Yeah.
So it kind of opens up my eyes, and it's like this guy that I know that, you know, didn't have the same success as me at a prior company, but came over here and put in, you know, the work. It's like it worked out for him. It's just, you can see it. Like all you have to do is put the work in. That's the beauty of the system. It's like there's no favoritism or anything. Anybody can do it. You just have to work.
I always say that it works if you do. That's how simple our business is. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate you boys getting on with us. And
Yes, sir.
nice week with you on ATX. And
Oh, yeah.
do it again soon.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.